Hello, beautiful people, and welcome to my channel. I'm Maria, and if you're new here, this is a channel dedicated to light workers, to people who are newly on their spiritual path, and also for all those who are looking to expand their souls and find new ways to express and embody themselves. I'm still working on my tagline. Well, for today's video, I wanted to talk about what it is to be a self and who we truly are, and why that is one of the most important questions to start exploring as we enter our spiritual journeys. I came across this beautiful quote by author and philosopher Paulo Coelho. He's written tons of books that have spiritual significance, even though they're oftentimes written as novels. If you're unfamiliar with his work, I truly recommend it. Well, the quote basically says, maybe the journey isn't so much about becoming anything. Maybe it's about unbecoming everything that isn't really you. And I often have to sit with that quote because it seems like in life we're trained to become something. What do you want to be when you grow up? Isn't that the question that we often face when we're growing up? As though whoever it is we are right now is insufficient. Sure, perhaps we don't have the skills necessary to earn us a living in the future at this point in time, but who we are, does that really need to change? Do we need to become a profession? Do we need to embody that in order to be complete human beings? No. But as we grow older, we are told by society, by our parents, by our friends, by our teachers, by TV, by the strangers down the street, who it is that they think we should be, as though they've got it all figured out themselves and they have the keys to happiness. Well, only you know who you are. And who you are is just sitting deep within your heart, waiting to be explored. And it's not about accolades. It's not about titles. It's not about accomplishments. It's not about how fast your car can go on the highway. Who you are is a soul. The soul having a human experience. And what does it mean to be a soul having a human experience? It's about tapping into that truest part, the most eternal part of yourself, connecting to it, sensing into it, and figuring out what it means. When we drop into our soul, either through meditation, through deep trance, through ecstatic dance, through soul journeys, if we're going down a shamanic journey, any which way that you choose to connect deep within your soul, either through prayer or meditation or through yoga or chanting, so many ways. I will stop here. But whichever way that resonates with you, that helps you quiet out all the noise, all the critical thoughts, all the beliefs, the disbeliefs, the loud noises generated by our egoic self, and we can drop into our spiritual self. What we find there is bliss, serenity, love, acceptance, feeling of homecoming. And that is a difficult feeling for a lot of people to feel, especially if you've had a difficult upbringing or trauma later or early in life, because sometimes the world does not feel safe. And it's difficult to put down your barriers. And oftentimes we just choose to stay in fight or flight mode, or to constantly be on the lookout and suspicious. And being told that deep inside all of us is this beautiful, loving, kind, accepting, and peaceful self is difficult to accept at first until you experience it. And so dropping in is an act of surrender in many ways. And if you've had a spontaneous spiritual awakening, or at least have had glimpses of spiritual awakening moments, as they can often happen, or if you're just intellectualizing and really starting to understand and to put all the pieces together intellectually, whichever path you choose is yours and it's valid, back to childhood. And if you've been around young children for any extended amount of time, if you have any of your own, or a caretaker, or work with them, or an aunt or uncle, or in any way, shape, or form have been around children, or even dogs, you know that there is within them this deep, 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 strong sense of knowing who they are. They're strong personalities. You do not give a child a personality. They come out fully formed little people who know exactly what it is they want, what they do not want, when they want it, how they want it, all of it. And it can be tempting to try to shape them to be somebody else, to stand up straight, to eat their vegetables, to be nice to their sisters and to share. We also need to be mindful not to crush their self-expression, to shape, to encourage, but not to change who they are fundamentally. Because our children are a lot closer to the veil than we are at this stage. They're a lot closer in connection with their guides, their angels, with life before incarnation. They're tapped in. And they have a soul expression that is unique to them and deep at their heart. What is it that they want and need most? Love, smiles, affection, excitement, discovery. And isn't that what being a human on this earth really is about? Love, excitement, discovery. Discovering what it is to be a human, to have a range of experiences and emotions, both comfortable and uncomfortable, sorrow, sadness, elation, joy, all of these things, boredom. Yeah, ennui. All of these things are part of the human experience. And so accepting that these things and these parts of the human experience are what we must go through as we travel down this path, but not necessarily associating our identity with those experiences. We are not workers. We are not mothers. We are not citizens, though we often play those roles and sometimes extraordinarily well and to much satisfaction. But we are what we are. We exist. And that is the eternal, perpetual thing that carries forward through life. Are you the same person, the same thoughts with the same worries that you were when you were 7, 14, 21, 35, 65, 95? No. You think about things differently, you experience life differently, you visit and revisit those memories, rehashing, reforming, but somewhere along all those years, there's one constant, and that is you. Whatever you is. It is not the worker. It is not the identity you have ascribed to yourself. It is that perpetual and internal you, the I am. And what that is just a fragment of source experiencing itself. It is the observer. How do you connect with your observer? Well, you can just take a moment to start observing your thoughts. If you have a thought and you're thinking about your thought, then who is it that's thinking about the thought? And one step further still, just the space in which the thought is occurring. That is your consciousness. And if you're familiar with the works of Sam Harris, he is an extraordinary teacher of meditation. He has an app called Waking Up. And I highly encourage everybody who's interested in connecting with their deeper inner self to download the app. And what he has beautifully done is separated knowing of the self and the consciousness, which truly is combined with the self in a very intimate way, and separated it from religion so that you can have spirituality without religion. And if you're not into or the concept of spirit guides, angels, higher selves, karma, all of that, if that doesn't speak to you, you can still have a relationship with the self. You can still come to know the self as you are deep down inside and experience that peace. But what does it also mean once you've explored the self? Well, it means that you don't have to take everything that happens in life so hard sometimes. When loss occurs, when hardship occurs, it can be incredibly destabilizing. But once you recognize that these things are happening around you and perhaps to the body to which all of these sensations belong, but it's not happening to you or altering you, then you can take a step back And you can have a little bit of distance between all that pain and suffering. It doesn't take away the full sting of it, but it lessens. And with that, you can also experience life in a much more carefree way. And not that you should run away from your responsibilities. This is not an excuse for spiritual bypassing at all. But it also means that all of those things, all of those constraints, those social constructs that we had that were binding us into a particular persona, identity, we realize that those are constructs. We realize that we don't need the approval or permission from others to be who it is we are at our core. And once we lose that need to please, that need to be acceptable to others, when we start desiring to be acceptable to ourselves, and that is when true freedom, true creator mode is unleashed. That is when you truly step into your power. And that, coming back to the beginning of my introduction, is how that is connected to light workers, to people newly on their spiritual path, to people who are exploring manifestation in their witchy, crafty ways. Because if you're here, if you're listening to this message, it's because it has a resonance with you. You're awakening. There's something within you that's stirring. You want to experience what it is to be a spiritual being. You just don't know what it is, but deep down we're all spiritual beings. Deep down we're all creators and manifestors. Deep down we're all able to tap in to everything that is around us and to play, to step in to the theater, to have a role, to claim our space in this great game of life, knowing that the outcomes, the stakes, are truly not that terrible because we are souls, we're eternal. So sometimes you have to take a leap of faith. Create a video about that in one of my last episodes. And that is what makes life so worth living. That is how you stop being a victim of circumstances, of going with the flow of everybody else's plans and expectations, and you truly start living from a heart space, from a place that is connected to your true self and that resonates with you. When you start taking ownership of your life and where it is you want to go, and yes, when you're willing to accept some discomfort so that you can continue to be aligned with what it is that makes your heart sing, that is when everything starts going well. That is when life and the universe start to conspire with you so that you can achieve your highest goals. And I speak from experience. It wasn't until I accepted and I felt within my heart that I can no longer be whoever it is everybody is expecting me to be, that I must let myself come out, myself shine, that everything really truly started coming into place. New opportunities in my life and my career, evolution. And it all started with a moment of bravery, a moment of taking a deep look inside and choosing no longer to disappoint and let down my inner self for the purpose of assuaging and appeasing others. Life's too short. Though we may have many lifetimes, this life, in this body, under these circumstances, this genetic code, this astrological set of circumstances, this time and space in history. And I don't know about you, but I'm really excited to live it, to explore it, and to push it as far as it can go. So on that, my beautiful souls, my beautiful friends, my community, thank you for being here. You are always welcome to join me in discussion. Ping me if you have any questions. I'm honored to serve. And on that, please like, comment, subscribe, share this with somebody you think will benefit. I'm really looking forward to growing this community with you. Namaste.